Hey guys, today is Thursday, April 30th. Can you believe it? It's the last day of April. This is crazy. All right, so I want to go over these questions. Just do them a little bit every night, and that way when we get to this section, some of these things will seem like second nature to you. Okay, right here, this means the square root of 100. We've talked about this before. It means what times what gives you 100, where the numbers are exactly the same. So 10 times 10 gives me 100. So the square root of 100 is 10 plus the square root of 25. What times what gives you 25 where the numbers are exactly the same? Well, 5 times 5 is 25. So that's 5. So right now, 10 plus 5 is 15. And that would be your answer. This one right here, square root of 100, we just said was 10. Over, there's a 3 here. So what that means is what times what times what gives me 8, where each of these numbers would be the same. Well, you could start with 1 times 1 times 1. Well, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. That's not going to work. What about 2 times 2 times 2? 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So that means this would become 2. And now I've got a fraction, 10 over 2. So how many times will 2 go into 10? 5 times, and that's my final answer, 5. Here, 3x plus 5x plus 2x. So what I'm doing is I'm putting like things together. These are all x's. It would be like me saying 3 zebras plus 5 zebras plus 2 zebras. How many zebras do we have? 3 plus 5 is 8 plus 2 is 10. X. Now this is a pinch different. I have x's, I have y's, and I have whole numbers. So I'm going to put my x's together. 7x and 2x is 9x. I have no more y's, so I'm going to leave it just as it is, plus 9. And that's all. That's the way I would leave it. Okay? All right. Here are 4 for you to do, so please press pause. I will see you back here in just a minute. Okay, I hope you really did press pause. I hope you really did try to do these. Right here we have the square root of 36, and that is 6, because 6 times 6 is 36. We just did this one on the other page. What times what times what gives you 8, where the numbers are the same, and the answer is 2. So now I have 6 over 2. How many times will 2 go into 6? It'll go in there 3 times, so my answer would have been 3 on this one. This one, the square root of 81, what times what gives me 81 is 9. Okay, this one I have to say what times what times what gives me 27. Well, we already know that 2 times 2 times 2 gives me 8. Well, let's see, 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3, 27. So that means this would be 3. And how many times will 3 go into 9? 3. Okay, here I'm going to put like things together. I have 3x's here. I have 2x's here. 3x plus 2x is 5x. This does not fit with this. They're not the same. So that's how I would simplify it. 5x plus 9. I put like things together. I put all my x's together. Here, I have 7x's here, 3x's here. So I'm going to put them together. That will give me 10x. This is 5y. There are no other y's. And then 8. We will get into much harder stuff, but I just figure the more we just kind of brush up on it, just barely touch it, when we get to the real stuff, you'll be ready. Okay, so if you've noticed, we've been taking a break from circumference, perimeter, area, volume, composite shapes, and angles. I don't want you to take a break. It's just we've been doing lessons on percents, and today we're going to do it on statistics, and all of those are important parts of the GED, but I can't stress enough that I think this is one of the biggest, most important parts. So don't forget about this. Keep refreshing your notes. Go back and look at old quizzes or go back and look at old notes on these things. Also, you can go into Aztec, Essential Ed, and do more on that. You can go out on the internet and keep practicing this. We'll be hitting it again soon. Don't forget about it. Okay, today we're going to talk about mean, median, mode, and range. If you don't already have a paper, if you had me in class, you probably already have this all written down. Pull it out of your notebook and use it. If you don't, I would press pause and I would write this down. I gave you a very short version of each of these definitions. So mean is the same as average. So the way to remember it are your teachers are mean. How did they get your grades back when you were in high school? They figured out what your average was. They added up all your grades and divided by how many grades you had. So that's mean. Median is the number in the middle. But we're going to talk about this when we practice it. The numbers have to be in order to figure out what the middle number is. Mode. Mode is the number you see most often. Look how they kind of sound the same in the beginning, mode and most. Now, let me just tell you this up front. Your answer, if it says, what's the mode? There could be no mode. Maybe no numbers repeat. If no numbers repeat, there's no mode. Or maybe there's a couple different numbers that repeat. You can have more than one mode, you can have no mode, or you can just have one mode. Range, to me, this is the easiest one. You just figure out what the biggest number is, you figure out what the smallest number is, and you subtract. So mean, remember your teachers are mean, that's averages. Median is the number in the middle, and think about that. When you're driving down the road, what's that in the middle of the road? It's called a median. Mode, the number you see most often, and range, the difference between the largest and the smallest. Okay, so here we go. These are Karen's grades. Okay, so we're going to figure out what the mean is. So to figure out the mean, all I need to do is in my calculator, add these numbers up and see what I get. So when I use my calculator and add these numbers up, I get 486. Now to figure out mean, that's the first step. And the second step is to count how many there are. There are 6, and divide by 6. Or in my calculator, I'd say 486 divided by 6, and I would get 81. So Karen's average grade right now is 81%. All right. But the teacher is so kind and said, listen, everybody, I'm going to let you drop your lowest grade. Whatever your lowest grade is, let's drop it. So when we look at Karen's grades, her lowest is this one. So we're going to drop it. So now I need to say 80 plus 71 plus 98 plus 80 plus 92. When I do that, I get 421. Now, once again, I need to, in my calculator or by hand, I need to divide it. But this time I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 grades. So I need to say 421 divided by 5. And when I do that, I get 84.2%. Let's talk about this. Her average was an 81% before. She dropped her lowest grade. Should her grade go up higher or lower after your lowest grade is dropped? I'm hoping you said higher, and we just proved it. Her grade now is an 84.2. Let's say you have to round it to the nearest whole number. We would draw our line here. Remember our rules for rounding. If the number behind the line is a 0 through 4, leave it alone. If it's a 5 through 9, bump it up. So I look, and this 2 fits in the 0 through 4. So it says, hey, leave this alone. So her grade after the lowest is dropped is now 84%. Hey, that's better than it was before. Okay, that's mean. All right, median. Remember when we talked about median is the number in the middle, okay? Aha, but remember there was that rule. You have to put them in numerical order. So I have to find out what's my smallest, 65. What's my next? And I'm going to do this so I don't mess up. 71, 80, 80, 92, and 98. Okay, now they're in numerical order. You have to do that with median. Now, to figure out what's the middle, I get rid of the smallest, the largest, the next smallest, the next largest. Uh-oh, I have 2 in the middle. Oh, I'm kind of mad at myself. I thought that I didn't realize these were going to be the same number when I did this a minute ago. Let's say they were different numbers. This is a big oopsie on my part. Let's say they were different numbers. Let's just for the moment say one was 80 and one was 86. Let's just say, because this was my bad. I'm so sorry. Since I have 2 numbers in the middle, median wants the middle. So what I have to do is I have to add these 2 numbers up. So I'd have to say 80 plus 86. Well, 80 plus 86 is 166. Now, that would not be the middle number. Because I have 2 numbers here, I'd have to divide by 2. And when I take 166 and divide by 2, I have 83. And doesn't that make sense? Doesn't it look like 83 would be right in the middle of these 2 numbers? So in that case, my median would be 83. Now I messed up. I have 2 of the same numbers, 80 and 80. If I add them up, I get 160. If I divide by 2, guess what I get? 80. And that makes sense. That would be my median. That was just me being bad on that. All right, now remember the teacher dropped the lowest grade. So she dropped the 65. So now when I go ahead and put the numbers in order, they still have to be in order. I get 71, 80, 80, 92, 98. Now, get rid of the smallest, the largest, the smallest, the largest. Oh, I only had one number in the middle. If it's an odd number of numbers, you'll only have one number in the middle. If it's an even number, you'll always have 2. When you have 2, you add them up and then you divide by 2. Okay? And by the way, if you're new, you might want to press pause and look at this. This is mainly most everybody that's had me. We've done this so many times. This is just a review. So that's why I'm going kind of fast. Okay. So now we're back to Karen's grades, and this time it says, hey, what's the mode? Well, the mode is the number I see most often. What do I see most often? 80. So my mode is 80. What if we drop Karen's lowest grade? What would my mode still be? 80. It's the only number that repeats. Let's say I had something like this. Okay, let's say I have that. What is my mode here? Well, let's see. I see 1, 3, 1, 3. Okay. Oh, I see 1, 7, 1, 7. So my mode would be 3 and 7. Let's say this 80 didn't exist, and let's go back up to this. What would my mode be? There would not be a mode. There is no repeating numbers. So remember, with mode, the answer could be none. It could be one set of numbers like we had here, 80. It could be more than 1, 3, and 7. Okay? And last but not least, here's Karen's grade, and we're supposed to figure out range. Remember, range is the difference between the largest and the smallest. So think in your head for a minute or press pause, figure out what my range is. Okay, my largest is 92. My smallest, oh, nope, I lied. My largest is 98. My smallest is 65. Now, I need to the difference is subtracting. So I get 333. So the difference between the largest number, 98, and the smallest number, 65, is 33. So that's my range. Okay, hopefully you got all of this. Remember, you can press pause, rewind. You can go into Aztec for more, and I'll have some questions for you on this topic. Have a great day. Bye.